Fearful Avoidant and parenting styles. Now, this is going to be the last part of this series talking about parenting styles and also attachment theory. And again, this takes two huge parts of my life. Being a parent, which is, my daughter really is the reason and inspiration why I started this channel and how I've become a better parent. So always in research in that realm, but also looking at it from the attachment styles. Like that's another aspect of my life that helped me understand. Looking through the attachment styles lens helped me better all my relationships in my life. And so I was like, how can I smash it together? And I think I have a very unique way of doing that. But before that, let me tell you a little bit about my channel. We do relationships. I'm a single dad, so we're talking a lot about parenting, personal growth, and also attachment theory. Again, today's gonna be more focused on attachment theory and parenting. And we're gonna try to look at fearful avoidant, giving you a little bit of background of the childhood, go into how to really kind of tell from different parenting styles, and then use this graph to really try to bring those two ideologies together. But fearful avoidant background first, let's do it. Fearful avoidant. Now, fearful avoidant is a part of attachment theory, and attachment theory is broken down into 4 different attachment styles. You have secure attachment and 3 insecure ones. That's anxious preoccupied, dismissive avoidant, and fearful avoidant. Another term you can use for fearful avoidant is going to be anxious avoidant, because the fearful avoidant kind of takes attributes from the anxious preoccupied and also from the dismissive avoidant and kind of mixes it up in that realm. And how I look at all the attachment styles, and more specifically, we talk about fearful avoidant, I think about how they view themselves and how they view other people, or how they trust themselves and how they trust other people. And they have a negative view of themselves, but they also have a negative view of other people. And you can kind of see how that is kind of paradoxical, right? Because you need love and connection, and we all are afraid of abandonment. But the problem with these individuals, the things that they love was the thing that they feared as a child. And that can be caused by like severe neglect, not just like emotional neglect, but also like physical neglect, but also that can be caused by abuse. The abuse could be negative because with children, they think they're little narcissists and they think everything's about them, all right? So you ever heard the situation where somebody gets a divorce and the kid thinks that it's about themselves? I always thought like, okay, these guys are just being like, just getting more attention. But psychology shows that they actually really believe it's their fault. And so when you have somebody either abuse them or severely neglect them, they start to actually think, okay, maybe I am the problem. And so they don't trust other people because they're harming them, but also they don't trust themselves because they feel like they are part of the situation why it's not working. And what can happen is they look for attention and love, but then they also kind of sabotage it because they don't trust it. And they, like Thais talks about how they have a board game and they're trying to play the board game with not understanding any of the rules and what you're supposed to do in the situation. They kind of just are trying to figure it out. And every time they do something wrong, it kind of reinforces that they're the problem and are the other people are the problem. All right. And so now I'm going to talk about parenting styles. So now let's look at parenting styles. Now this has to give credit to a video that I saw on YouTube. I wish I remember who it was because I would give them a shout out. But they broke down the 4 parenting styles, which is authoritative, authoritarian, don't get it mixed up because it's just the Aryan and the tative part is different, permissive, and also uninvolved and neglectful. And the best way to categorize that is using 2 different factors. First factor is going to be responsiveness, and the second one is control. Now, responsiveness has 2 parts you got to look for it as. It's how attuned was that parent to that child's needs. When the child was crying, did they give what they need? And just really understood like how to make just needs in general. But then there was a part of responsiveness is how well was that parenting listening to that child? When that child brings up a good point, did they just say, no, do as I say, not as I do? Or they were like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's see how we can incorporate what you're thinking into what I need to make sure that you're safe, and so we can go forward. And that's usually negotiating and communicating, listening, and meeting that child's emotional needs. I was at the dance studio for my daughter, and I was sitting down at a table waiting for her to get done, and I was asking this girl, like, hey, what's one thing as a parent could your parents do better if they could anything at all? This random girl I met. And she said that I wish they would listen more. So the responsiveness is huge for that child, but also the development as they get older. Now let's look at control. Now the control aspect is also in 2 different areas. That's how much control did that parent have over their life? Did they have like high expectations, and what kind of expectations they had to what they expect? Did they have a bedtime? Did they have structure? how much control did that parent have in that child's life? But then you had how much control did that parent have over their own emotions? Were they great one day and they were sporadic the other day? Were they, if anything happened that like somebody, like a kid was trying to pour milk in their bowl and they drop it on accident, they just explode on them because they have their own issues they haven't covered. So those two factors really have a big play. And I'm really gonna do in the next part, which is gonna be really mashing the attachment styles and parenting styles from those two factors and also from what we learned from dismissive avoidant. I'm excited, let's do this. So how can we take fearful avoidant and then mash that together with parenting styles? And so the best way to do that, and there's no literature backing this up, there is literature backing up fearful avoidant and being with the parenting style uninvolved and also neglectful parent. But bringing it together, the whole attachment style with parenting was very difficult. And so I made this graph. Now this graph was really, really good because it kind of breaks down the responsiveness and control aspect of parenting while also including the attachment theory. And you have the top right corner, you have the secure, which is gonna be the authoritative parent. And then you have in the bottom right, you have the permissive parent or the anxious preoccupied, and then in the top left you have a kind of combination of dismissive avoidant and anxious preoccupied. Now if you want to know more about that, please, I'm putting in the description box below. You can look at what anxious preoccupied is and dismissive avoidant. I go into more detail with that. But today's focus is going to be about fearful avoidant. That's going to be that bottom left corner. And if you look at it, they have low responsiveness and low control. Right? And a lot of times what's associated with fearful and the uninvolved and neglectful parenting has to do with some type of abuse. Now, severe neglect abuse or severe physical, like sexual assault, things like those type of abuses, like it's something really severe. And you have to look at and categorize it from responsiveness. If a parent is not responsive, all right, to a child, either through their needs or through what they need to have or physical needs, if they're not responsive for that, and they also have low control, the parent has low control over their own actions and emotions, that can also cause harm to that child. And even the child is showing that, hey, they don't like this or they need more of something, because of that parent being responsive and have a lack of control, they don't respond to what that child needs, and they continue doing whatever their emotions tell them left or right. And so it puts these children into a very kind of dangerous area and produces what I talk about, the negative view of themselves and the negative view of the people. It's kind of like the more I researched this, it's really kind of, they say it's a small amount of the population, but actually I think it's a little higher than what it says. It's like 2 to 5% what the literature says. But I think it actually is higher because the study was doing more like self-diagnosing or self-monitoring themselves about what they were, surveys. But a lot of times these people are not, there's no fault why they are the way they are. They're just put in situations where it wasn't the best for them. And so, but this graph is really good because it helps you understand what, as a parent, can we go from. No matter where you start in any attachment style or whatever parenting style you had, now this can kind of help you understand, am I being too controlling? Or am I being too passive? Or am I not being acknowledging and reciprocating? Because with attachment styles, one of the biggest influences that relate to your children, depending on what style you are. And so if you're not gonna change who you are, there's a high likelihood your child is gonna be in that same type of attachment style. So hopefully this information was really important. Now, the final thoughts, guys, please like and subscribe. And if notification bell, if you like the content, please tell me how you like the graph and how you like the information, because I really am trying to understand, make sure this makes sense. Or if there's something that needs clarity on it, please let me know. And please check the description box below. I have a lot of the videos that I've done before that could be associated with it if you want to have more clarity on it. But again, this is really bringing two parts of the world that I hold dear and really are important to me. Just really and truly focus on me becoming a better parent. I don't feel like there's such thing as a perfect parent, but I think the most perfect parent is when somebody's always trying to constantly improve themselves and for the people they love and care about, and especially their children. And so as I end majority of my calls and videos is, guys, if you do have kids and if you're watching this video, there's probably a high likelihood that you do. Slow down and give your kid a hug. Tell them that you love them. I know, oh, I've said that before. They need to hear it so constantly because of the world is going to try to pull them in so many directions. They need to be told that they're loved. And they need to be told that they're worthy just because they're born. They need to learn that they're worthy on their own and not because they're worthy because they're doing certain things for other people. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but I'm telling you, they need to hear that. They need to know that they're worthy, and they're worthy because they were born, and because they were born, they made you become better, and that could be their worthiness. So, hope this series really added value to you. And again, if you have any comments or you want to know more about this graph or parenting styles and attachment styles, please let me know. I think it could be beneficial individually, but also trying to combine them will be also beneficial. Until next time, see you when I see you.